let's talk a little bit about SEO, which is search engine optimization, what it is, and how to do that in Webflow. Now, before we dive into this, I just want to say SEO. It's a huge topic. There are people who are dedicated to only doing this as a service. So this is a very big thing. I'm just going to give you an intro here to the basically important things that you need to know and best practices. Of course, if you want to learn more, I'm going to give you resources to do that. But let's get started with the basics. First of all, what is SEO? Why does it matter? SEO is basically means how will your website rank on search engines? And as the world is changing too, people are using more AI. How people are ranking, does AI recommend your website is also going to become important, although that is kind of like still emerging and we don't have a lot of best practices, but we do have a lot of best practices on how to rank on search engines. And so a lot of businesses, especially small and local businesses, really rely on search, right? If you are a lawyer in a small town, you know that the way that a lot of people are going to get to you is by searching for lawyer in small town or best pizza in New York or something like this. And that you want to make sure that you're ranking higher. There are different businesses, like our business, for example, Flux Academy. We don't care about SEO at all. Why? We drive most of our traffic to our website from YouTube and social media. And so we don't really care where we fit in search engine. Not a lot of people are looking for, learn web design or something like this and finding us through Google. And so we don't really care about this, but most businesses, us included, want to have at least the basic principles implemented on their website. And some businesses that really rely on SEO would actually hire an SEO expert to work with them, maybe together with you as you're building their website, or maybe as an ongoing service. Okay, so let's talk about the key things that influence whether a website ranks high or not on search engine. So the first thing is what's called an on-page SEO, meaning do the relevant keywords appear on the page title and headings, the H1, H2, and the different keywords, right? So again, if you're a lawyer, you want to make sure that the H1 in your website says that this is a lawyer in New York or something like this, and that you're using the keywords a lot, the ones that you want to rank for. The other thing is what's called a technical SEO. And this basically means that Google or other search engines, they want to present the best websites first, to give a good experience to the people who are browsing. So if your website is not going to be responsive, it's not going to load fast, it's not going to be secure, Google is probably going to say, this is probably not a good, reliable website, so they're going to rank you lower. So you just want to make sure that your website is built technically good, and that's going to help you rank higher. The last thing is called off-page SEO, which is they basically keep track of how many people and who is linking to your website. And if a lot of people recommend you and link to you, that probably say that you're trustworthy and that you should rank higher. This is, of course, off topic for us because we don't care about who is linking our business. We care about building the website for this client. And so this is something that SEO experts do with link building and other stuff like that. That is beyond the scope of what we care about right now. So let's talk about the best practices for us and stuff that we should care about. I'm just going to list them and then I'm going to jump into Webflow to show you how we're going to do them. Number one, we're going to make sure that the page title and descriptions make sense and that we actually put information there. We haven't done that so far in the website that we've built. We want to make sure that we have an SEO friendly URLs. So again, if we've got page titles like about or project, we want to make sure that these make sense so that Google or the search engine will know what this page is about. We want to make sure that the images are compressed so that the website loads fast. We already talked about that. We want to set an open graph image, and I'll show you what that is. That basically, in Facebook or something, when you're pasting a link, you actually see an image along with the name of the website. We want to make sure that we choose this image and set it. And of course, to do all of these things, quite like I showed you with the image alt, there are apps in the Webflow App Store to help you do that on speed. But let me show you basically how to do that one by one. So from the Pages panel, we can open up the page setting right here. And then we've got a bunch of things. So page name is basically an internal thing for us. Basically, this shows here. And this is home is okay. But the page title, which is basically, what you see here in the top of your browser tab, we want to make sure this makes sense, right? So here I would probably write something like photographer name, website, professional photographer, or something like this. And you can already see it gives us kind of like a mock-up of how this would actually look like on Google. So we want to make sure that the page title doesn't have typos, of course, and makes sense. And then we also have a description, right? So this is the personal website of this photographer that works in the fashion and whatever lifestyle. So I'm starting to write text here that makes sense for when people are going to search. And you can see here, this is the description that Google is going to show below the link. The next thing that we have is an open graph. An open graph is very similar to the Google preview, basically showing a preview of your websites on search results. This is basically what Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter would show when you're pasting the link. So usually you're just going to toggle same as SEO title tag and meta description. You can see the preview here. The only difference is that Open Graph also has an image. And so you can click here to select an image. Basically, by the way, recommend that you create a horizontal image, so 1200 pixels by 330. And then you can go ahead and select an image. I have here the hero image, which I can pick. And then you can see this is not the right, of course, proportions or aspect ratio for this image. You can see the preview of what this would look like when linking is on social media. One note about choosing an image, this has to be a JPEG or PNG image. So if you've already compressed the images here in the assets panel, you won't be able to use the WebP or IPA. And so just make sure that you upload a specific image for the Open Graph using these size, save it as JPEG, don't compress it, so that you'll be able to select it here. So again, these are the settings that you need to do from here. You have to do this page by page, which can be time consuming if you have a big website. And that's why you probably want to go here to the App Store, look for something like SEO, and then you have a bunch of different SEO apps to make things easier and more productive. Check them out if you need to do that. And if you want to learn more about SEO and Webflow, we highly recommend Peyton's course. Peyton is our friend. He's got a great course that is called SEO and Webflow, oriented for people who want to do SEO services besides or on top of their Webflow services. So if that's something that interests you, check that out. I'm going to link that below the video, and I'll see you in the next one.